Hello, B3 Burner here, and like a lot of you, coronavirus has me inside going stir crazy. So I have a lot of free time to work on videos and other things that I had stored on external hard drives that need work. But whoa, just when I wasn't expecting it, a challenge came my way. Crown Victoria enthusiast and owner and YouTube channel owner Panzer Platform approached me with a proposition. He said, why don't the two of us make collaborative videos, subject being, what do we do with our trunk space and other space in our cars? I said, yeah, sure, let's give it a shot, see how it goes. Now, here's the thing. We're both going to upload our videos in some date in the future, a specified date in the future. Neither of us see what the other one is doing, and so we are each beholden to creating our own independent creative work without any influence or bias from the other, i.e. I can't look at his video in advance and cheat and say, oh, I forgot about that. He thought of something I didn't, let me include that in mine. No, that would be cheating. We want to see what each of us has to say. And he might have included other people in it, I don't know. It'll be interesting. On the date of release, it'll be interesting to see who else he might have contacted and asked to do the same thing. As far as I know, he only contacted me. Now, I didn't get a group email, but he might have contacted others. So I could be in for a surprise, and there could be 10, 11, or even 12 people involved in this. We shall see. In the meantime, give credit where the credit's due. This is Panzer Platform's homepage on his YouTube channel. The link in blue is the link to the channel homepage that you see. The link in red will be the link to his completed video. I will also have that link, that same link, in the description below on my video. And with that being said, we'll leave the editing suite, my computer room. We'll go back into it, trust me. We'll spend a lot of time here before this is done this week. But let's go out to the garage and look at the car, and I'll talk to you about the subject at hand. Until then, B3 Burner. Hello, B3 Burner back with you, and this time we're out in the garage like I said we would be. And I'm here with my Crown Victoria. And the subject of the day, like I said, is what do I do with my trunk space? And we're going to go in here and have a look at what's in the trunk, what I carry, what I don't believe in carrying for whatever reason, and I'll get more into that. And then we're going to go inside the interior of the car, and I'm going to discuss the glove box, the cup holder compartment, and what became of it, and what I put in the back seat area. Well, I hate to break the news to you, but we're not going to get to the interior of the car. You see, I ran all the shots and got them done, but when I put it into the editor, it was going to total up to 45 minutes raw, and I wasn't sure I could edit them down below 30 minutes. So we're going to keep it simple and stick to the trunk like the original topic was. And then maybe later on next week or toward the end of the month, I might do a part 2 or 3 series on the interior items and get to that later. So keep that in mind, and we might be getting to that soon. Thank you. Okay, let's first take a quick look at the trunk itself. Get a good wide-angle lens view of it, and you can see the basic contents: 2 tire jacks, a aftermarket flexible container, battery jumper cables, spare tire under the lip, and 2 wires that are braided with electrical tape that just got their ends snipped. Probably something police-oriented that they didn't need anymore. So now we'll go through and discuss what they each are and what I do or don't do with them, because not all this stuff do I believe in keeping in the car. and I will explain why. So my imminent philosophy is this. If it isn't something that I think I would need in an emergency on a chance encounter, and in my mind it's superfluous. Superfluous, not superfluous, wrong pronunciation. Could otherwise be easily taken care of at home, or in another instance, I don't carry it with me. So let's start with the spare tire. Obviously, you never know when you're going to have a flat, so that is absolutely 100% necessary, along with the clamping device inside that keeps it held down. The original jack, which comes with it, is also necessary because, of course, without the jack, you're not taking the tire off anytime soon. This jack is the proper jack from the manufacturer, specifically for town cars, Grand Marquis, and Crown Vics. When I first got this car, the spare tire was laying down on the trunk floor. I tried putting it up on the shelf, and every time I accelerated hard, the tire would eventually creep a little further and further back and eventually fall into the trunk well. So the person who helped me with the auto body repair had some spare Crown Vic parts and said, hey, if I can find that little doohickey in the center that secures it along with the threaded rod that sticks up, we can anchor that down so it stops moving. So that's what we did. Now, it was kind of hard holding up that screw staff while I was trying to keep the tire secure. After I got it secured, and I said, okay, well, thank God that's over, I suddenly realized, oh crap, the jack doesn't fit. So what I should have done was I should have put the jack inside the tire before screwing it down. But then it might not have fit right. So now what I'm stuck with is the unfortunate situation of the jack rattling around because I don't know where to put it where it's not going to move. I suppose I could maybe squeeze it up here. You know, that might work. You know, I never thought about that. Is it going to block the trunk when it comes down? Oh, it is. Look at that. When I lower the trunk door, yeah, it's gonna block that. So see, I can't do that. Putting up here, it's gonna collapse and fall down to there, definitely. So what I do with it, for the time being, is I find the deepest well in the trunk floor, and I just lay it down there. Reading the instructions, it looks a little confusing. I'm sure I could eventually figure it out, but I wouldn't want to have to figure it out while I'm on the road on the side of traffic. This is one that I've had for a while, and to me, it's much more intuitive because I would just simply take this hook and put it in the little eyelet, and already, whoop, as he bangs his car, come on, I'm ready to go. Kind of hard to do that. 2 hands. Okay, so you can't rule out that you might get a flat while you're on the road, so those are 2 necessary things. You cannot rule out a dead battery. So of course, I have to have a good set of heavy-duty jumper cables in here. The third thing I find necessary, you can't prevent the loss of air while you're driving. I'm not talking about a total flat where you go down to 0 psi. I'm talking about maybe a 10-pound loss where your tires are supposed to be at, say, 35 and you're down to 25. This is one of those 12-volt compressors that plugs into the cigarette lighter of your dashboard, and it's got a cable that extends out about 12, 15 feet. And in here is the nozzle end that attaches to your valve stems, and you run it. It's not real fast. It's not as fast as the ones at the gas station, but it will get you by. And the good thing about this is you can do it at home without having to go to the gas station and put coins in or hold up the line if somebody else is waiting. It's all in-house and contained. It's just, don't try to blow up 4 tires down at 10 psi. It's going to take a while, and when these get hot, they automatically shut themselves off. So long as you're not asking too much from it, this is a good way to go. Okay. So those are 3 things that I consider critical. The spare tire, in case you get a total flat, the jacks, to lift the car so you can change the flat, the compressor to keep air pressure up before you lose it entirely, if you're lucky enough that you can prevent that from happening, and the battery cables in the event of a dead battery. Now here's a neat little thing I got for Christmas or my birthday or something that my girlfriend was nice enough to get me. There's a storage compartment for things in the trunk. I am not one for unnecessary clutter, things that go banging around when I make turns, but if I'm going to keep things in the trunk, I'd like them in as compartmentalized a situation as possible. Ideally, I like an empty trunk. I like the car to be spotless and devoid of anything rattling around. But for safety's sake, it's probably good to at least carry the bare minimum I just described. I haven't figured out all the things I want to put in here. But while I'm in the process of trying to figure it out, I figure the tire compressor is a good place to start. Okay, so now that we've talked about the things that I think are essential, let's talk about the things that other people put in their cars. I'm not necessarily as enthusiastic about doing so. And we will discuss cleaning supplies. Everybody knows the person who's like this. They're at the car show and they have their entire detail kit at the car show, making sure that every last spot gets off of there. Yeah, I can understand that to an extent, and if you are showing a classic car, okay, I kind of get it. And these cars are special classics amongst those who like them. But seriously, it doesn't need to stay in the trunk and these things rattling around as I make sharp turns. Anything I plan on doing as far as detailing the car, trust me, it can be done at home. It isn't absolutely vital I carry it with me. Not too interested in that. So if I'm going to contain those, they can stay on the shelf. Where at home I can easily grab them there and they don't have to be in the car per se. The other thing people like to carry around is gasoline. Well, I don't know about you, but gasoline stinks. And even though this is a trunk and the interior of the car is separated from the trunk, there is a gap between the rear package tray and the rear seat, and I'm sure the smell can eventually waft in to the car. And I don't want to smell that. What's more, in terms of emergencies that you have no control over versus emergencies that you do, I consider running out of gas something that is totally preventable. And if you've run out of gas, it's because you weren't paying attention to the gas gauge or the range on your trip odometer. You shouldn't have to carry a can of gas if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, paying attention. About the only thing I could consider a reason for carrying gasoline around would be if somebody I knew broke down on the side of the road, ran out of gas, because they weren't paying attention, and they needed me to bring a can for them. In which case, I wouldn't put it in the trunk. I'd probably hold onto it with my right hand in the console between the two seats while holding the steering wheel with my left hand. Windows rolled down, vent on full blast, to make sure that it doesn't spill, it doesn't go anywhere. And as soon as I'm done, right outside the car it goes, back in the garage. I just don't feel comfortable. I do not want this spilling all over the trunk carpet. Along the same lines, this is why I don't carry power steering fluid. More power steering fluid. Here, let me tell you why. Perfect example. This is a totally closed cap that's never been opened and cracked on its own. Had I just assumed it was a sealed bottle and put it in here, not realizing it had been cracked, this would have wound up all over inside my car. This one is sealed, but I don't know for how long it's going to stay that way. It gets hot in my garage. There are windows in the top of the garage door that the sun shines directly through. And in the afternoon, it bakes all the objects sitting on the shelf. All right. Another example, brake fluid. Brake fluid is very caustic. I don't want this stuff spilling anywhere. It does not stay in the trunk. And how about this, antifreeze? Antifreeze is probably one of the lesser caustic things, but it's slimy and it's sweet and it smells bad. And I don't want that spilling in the trunk either. So here's the thing. Here's my general rule. I look under the car, in the garage or the driveway. If I see leaking, and I know I have a problem where I may have to refill it on the run at a moment's notice until I get around to getting the leak fixed, then I might carry it around, those items around. And even then, it's going to be in a separate cardboard box. It's going to be, I'll probably line it with like a Glad trash bag, inside and out. Try to secure it with either rubber bands or bungee cords or whatever I can to, I'm looking around and I'm not seeing anything that I could attach a bungee cord to. So my options are limited, and I wouldn't want to have to do it, but if I had to carry vital fluids in a emergency situation, I would figure something out. But so long as I look under the car and I have no leaks and it's holding its fluids just fine, I don't see a reason to carry them around. In my mind, less is more. That stays there. And this, trying to figure which side. Probably the longer side. And again, this is why I don't like putting things in my trunk, because it's a pain in the butt. Things moving around. But I will say that there are certain things that have to be there for safety's sake. So with that being said, I hope that's helpful, and I hope that I've met Panzer Platform's challenge appropriately and have provided an entertaining, if not informative, video. So for now, B3 Burner saying so long, and I'll see you next time.